just don't think about it when we're doing real estate. People scared to ask, what do you owe? What's the payment? What do you, I mean, I don't even know why people don't want to ask the questions. I
All
think
right,
there's a,
everyone. Welcome back here. We're on another episode of Behind the Doors. And today, as you can see, it's a whole different crew. No one has been here before, but they're about to give you a lot of information that you guys need to know about creative financing. And I'm very happy to have everyone here with us today. First and foremost, what I need you guys to go ahead and do, I need you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Once again, it's called Behind the Doors. We just got off the floor as far as being a new podcast, have gotten some great views, some great responses as far as the audience. We're looking to do more of this. And we're also today looking to do creative financing the right way. Because I'm seeing you guys getting in tough situations. Now we got three experts here who are going to do it the correct way, and they're going to be able to discuss how they have gone about it, their experiences, the ups and downs, and everything that goes along with it. So what we're going to go ahead and do, Ellis, if you could go ahead and start it off with us as far as introduction, and we'll just do a full circle and we'll dive into some questions.
Thank you, Gus. Hi, everybody. My name's Ellis San Jose. I'm based out of Southern California, just outside of Los Angeles. I started out doing this business way back when, believe it or not, in the late 80s. I bought my first property in 1989, didn't know what the heck I was doing. And thanks to having a bunch of really kind and helpful mentors, I found my way. And I combine the principles of creative financing with also curative title. My specialty is finding properties that have title issues, and I find ways to solve those problems for sellers.
Right on. I'm Joe Delle Fave. This is my beautiful wife, Jen.
Hi.
We're full-time real estate investors based out of Bradenton, Florida, just south of Tampa. I've been doing this for 25 years. Started off wholesaling, doing the traditional BRRRR method like so many others did. And then when we got capped at 10 mortgages from our local bank, 2016 is when we started discovering creative finance. And luckily, we had some really, really great coaches. One of the best of all time is our coach for a long time, teaching us the right ways and wrong ways. So when Gus was like, "We're going to do it right today," I'm like, "Good, that's all we do." So I love to hear that. And now we've been doing this full time for 6 years. Moved to Florida from upstate New York, from Rochester, and we do a handful of deals every month. And our number one strategy is these creative finance deals.
good. I love it. It's an honor. I'm Kris Haskins. My mission is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. Honored to be on the stage. First of all, let's give it back to Gus, y'all. Thank you, Gus, for putting these people together. This is crazy. Look at the golf clap.
Mhm.
We do real estate. We do creative. I did it wrong back in 2004 to 2010, and then I lost a bunch of houses, and I learned, as Joe says, the right way to do it creatively. And this has been, for me, a lifesaver. The same thing happened to me. The banks cut me off after that. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Am I going to get out of business or we're going to figure it out? So now we buy the right way, not guaranteeing debt, no signing for loans. We don't do any of that stuff. Yeah, we buy houses every month. And hopefully we can help your people do the same.
Mhm.
All right, great, great, great. So we got a great panel here today. So let's just dive into it. So me, myself, I've done one creative financing deal. And I
Ooh.
asked Ellis like a billion questions about it before I jumped into it. So I'm a newbie. So this is a little different from the other podcasts when we're talking about burrs and things along those lines using the bank. I've done those. This, I'm a little iffy. So for the newbies that be watching this and people who are doing creative financing and don't know what they're doing, can someone explain what is a good definition for creative financing?
Well, I'll start off. I mean, there's basically two ways that people know how to buy properties, either all cash or going to a bank. So creative financing is everything in between in order to solve a problem to get a property sold.
I like that. I think, yeah, that's a good example right there.
Okay.
And the easy part about creative finance is it's been going on long before, I mean, for so long. The neighbor wanted to buy the neighbor's farm, hundreds of years ago. They would just trade things. So it's the same kind of concept where you're just rather than going through a lending institution like a bank, I'm actually having the seller finance the property for me by me just making payments to them every month.
Yeah. I think it's deeper than that though, man. I think why? Why is it that we don't know this stuff? And why is it that we have to lose our shirts before we get? I'm hearing your stories like I'm the same way. I was doing it traditional way, and it's like I'm looking back, I'm like, I did it wrong. I did it all wrong. Now when we're working with sellers to buy real estate, that needs to be the norm. And that's
Mhm.
why I'm glad Gus is doing that.
All right. So you guys kind of gave me an idea. You said this is the range and creative finance somewhere in the middle. So I'm putting my newbie hat on when I'm asking these questions. I need you guys to help guide me. So what would you say is an example or strategy of a creative finance deal? If you could keep it simple for someone new to that particular world.
Well, I mean, I've got one right now.
Yeah.
We're closing in 6 days. I've got a seller who's in Florida. He's got a house in Sarasota. He bought it, lived in it for 4 months. He got a letter to go back to Los Angeles for his job. So now he's renting it. He's an accidental landlord. His intentions were never to be a landlord. He thought he was going to live there. This is a turnkey house. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. It's built in '07, got a new roof, new AC a couple of years ago. So it's not a distressed property. This isn't the property that most of us were starting off looking for. We look for all the junkers. Well, this isn't a house on a list. This is a nice property. But when he reached out to me, he said, I'd be open to doing seller financing, and I have a 3.25% interest rate, which means I could buy the property. And this is what, when Kris was just saying this, they don't teach this stuff in school or anywhere else, but I could buy the property and the loan will stay in the seller's name. So what we talked about and discussed and negotiated, he just needed $5,000. So at $5,000 down, I'm buying a turnkey house in Sarasota, Florida with a 3.25 interest rate. And the best part about it is my payment's 1883 a month. It's already got a renter inside at 2375. So this isn't a junker. This is a turnkey house. Once I give them $5,000 down at closing next week and I pay a few thousand in closing costs, I own a turnkey home. And the best part is no banks, no credit checks, no red tape or hoops to jump through. Closing these deals are significantly easier back than when we were doing the traditional method of BRRRR, showing proof of this and all the other things and all the extra fees the banks would charge. It was a packet.
Yeah,
Now it's
packet of
easy.
papers.
Easy, easy, easy. So that's one we're doing. That's just the most recent one that we're doing right now. And I've got a bunch of others in the hopper.
I think that's a great example. If you don't mind me asking a few questions about that.
Yeah.
So pretty much you're consuming the loan. Now, I'm going to ask a few questions when it comes to that. All right,
We're not.
good. So this is coming from a
No
newbie.
way.
So
We don't
it may
assume
sound like I
loans
don't know what
here.
I'm talking about, but I really don't. So this is a new world for me.
Non-assumable.
Okay, so you're putting down 5K.
Unassumable.
Is that 5K to them for just doing the transaction, or is that 5K he's behind in payments? So that's my first question.
So you're really the first one is assuming. We're
Yes.
not assuming anything. Assuming means I'm getting a credit check. I'm applying for the loan at the bank, and then that loan will transfer from their name to my name. We do not do that. Like Kris was saying, we don't sign for debt. So what happened was he bought the property for 290,000. He owes 255. So I'm going to take over that $255,000 balance. I'm just going to pay that directly.
Did he bring 40 in, Joe?
No, he paid it down for a few years. He had a
Oh,
down payment. Yeah, because he's bought it in
okay.
2022 is since he's owned it for that.
Okay.
So he's been renting it. He put down some money when he bought it. He bought it at 290. He owes 255 to the lender right now. He says, Joe, if you cover all of the closing costs and fees and just give me 5 grand, you could take this thing over.
Okay. All right. So now another thing that you said, he reached out to you.
Mhm.
How you want to dive into that? How that worked?
Marketing.
Yeah.
Well, I
So,
understand that, but for the people that don't know it.
You give him some secrets, Joe. Give him some secrets how to get the
oh,
phone
we've got
moving.
so many secrets. It's almost too easy. Most people won't do it. So be one of the people that do. And it's just branding yourself. If
They
you
ain't
go
gonna
to
do it.
Joe Delle Fave, Joseph Delle Fave on Facebook, you will see that he buys properties. And by posting onto Facebook, and we love Facebook groups, telling people that you are buying real estate, the seller actually did reach out to him. Now, some people spend like $20,000, $30,000 a month on marketing to get deals that they won't even possibly know what to do with, like this turnkey beautiful house. And here, this seller saw Joe's post, saw that he buys real estate like this, and personally reached out to him through a DM.
Like if you wouldn't believe this if I showed it to you, but like here's the first message where he messaged me, like, "Hey, I noticed your post in a group. Would you be interested in seller financing?" I was like, "Heck yeah!" He gives me the address, and he's like, "I've got a 3.25 interest rate."
Mm.
That's
I'm
sweet.
like, "Yeah, okay, I'm in love." Like turnkey house, and he reached out to me because the best leads I've always felt are incoming, off-market leads.
They're warm.
House was never on the market. Incoming reached out to me, and it's a warm lead. So I just asked a couple questions, hopped on the phone call. We discussed the terms back and forth, like we kind of mentioned. What do you owe? What's your payment? how much money do you need to make this work? And when we went back and forth for $5,000, and that was yes, I put everything on paper, what we agreed on. He's in California, so I sent it to him through DocuSign. He said yes. I sent it to my title company back here in Florida, and it takes them 3 weeks to close.
No, that's awesome.
You gotta hear what he said though, Gus. He did not offer anybody anything. It's like all we do is ask questions.
Yep.
Ask questions. Like people, Gus, I think newbies, they're like, what should I do? What should I offer? What should I give them? What should I do? They never ask, what does the homeowner want? I think that's why we need to practice the platinum rule. I don't know if we practice the platinum rule. The golden rule is good, but you know, the platinum rule, do unto others as they want to be done to. We just don't think about it when we're doing real estate. People scared to ask, what do you owe? What's the payment? What do you, I mean, I don't even know why people don't want to ask the questions.
I think there's this fake like hurdle in front of people. Like we don't want to get into their business so much. By getting into the situation, then you get a better understanding of what it is and how you can,
Good point.
agree upon things and, work for both parties is my thinking. Now, one thing I want to say, Joe, thank you for bringing that up. Not only did you bring an example for people who are newbies, you showed the proof. So Joe didn't make anything up. He had it. I didn't, nothing was predetermined here. He showed the actual message. So that's awesome. Also, let me ask you this question. So he paid it down 290 down to 255. You gave him 5,000. You paid for the closing costs. There's a current renter in there. You're currently making what, 400, 500 bucks off of it. What does the comps look like as far as the property? Or is that important? What's the important part of creative financing? Let me put it that way.
You want to know what's wild? I never even looked.
Okay, fair enough.
Does it matter?
It doesn't matter to me. But the reason why, and I'll answer that, Gus, because the reason why is I bought a cash flowing asset that is turnkey in a neighborhood for what the seller owes for it. He just recently, years ago, paid more. If the properties go up, if the values go down, either way, I've got a renter paying off the debt. I'm making money per month. I get the tax write-offs from owning the property now too. And if properties values go up or down, they do. They go both ways, but eventually they always go up. Eventually, even if there's a dip, they're going to go up. I'm a long-term holder. I'm not the guy who says I'm going to get rich in 6 months with real estate because the first rental I bought 18 years ago, what I bought it for then, it's like 6x from what I paid for it. And we started buying it in 2008 when everybody else wasn't buying either, when property values were dropping. That's when I met my wife. And we're like, we're going to start buying rentals. And that's exactly what we did. And even back then, I felt like, man, that's a fair amount of money for the house. Well, now what these things are worth, oh my gosh. So you hold them for 20 years, you have your renters pay them off for you, and then it just turns into, I mean, absolutely amazing.
Today's price is tomorrow's bargain, I have learned.
I want to say something about what Kris brought up about not asking questions. I think you do the seller a disservice if you don't ask the questions, because there's usually something below the surface of just wanting to sell the property. There's something deeper there, and if you don't ask and if you don't really address it, are you really solving their problem, or are you offering all the different options for them to solve the problem that they may not have been aware of? Because most people, let's face it, in this business, it's we'll buy your house as is and 3 days or less for all cash, whatever. That is not always the best solution, and we have to ask. We owe it to them to ask what else is going on.
Good point. That's a good point.
Well, and you're spot on because once again, like if you don't ask these questions, you're not going to have all the information. But it's because we're professionals, like Ellis, like Kris, like we're all professionals here, so we're asking good questions. No different than going to the doctor's office. You can't go walk down the street and tell someone to get naked, and in 3 minutes you walk back in the dressing room, they're naked. That doesn't work like that. But a doctor, because they're a professional, you're going to be down to your drawers in no time, right? Because somebody professional told you to do something. So it's no different from like I'm asking. And I was just on a call before this today. Total stranger. What do you owe? What's your interest rate? What's your monthly payment? How much money do you need? Right? And I'm asking the questions. They're giving me the offer. They're making me the offer. And I got to decide now if that's a good deal or if we need a counter offer. So
let's give them some value, Joe. Let's give them some value real quick.
Damn. Well, get used to asking the questions. That's the point.
I'm the seller. Real quick, Joe. Why do you need to know that, Mr. Investor? I'm the homeowner. How do you open me up? Open me up.
Well, there's a few different ways I could buy the property, and I'm just trying to figure out a couple of different ideas what I can make it work. I buy cash for houses that need work, but a nice house like yours, you're not going to take my cash offer, so I'm trying to figure out how I could buy your property.
You heard that, y'all. That was a nugget right there. That was a nugget.
All
Mhm.
right, so I want to build upon that right there. So when you're asking these questions, when do you determine creative financing or other avenues that we normally go to, whether it be cash or bank loans?
That's
Uh,
easy.
we'll go with Kris.
Yeah. I'm always trying to not. Rule one, don't put money in houses if you don't have to. I don't know if anybody heard that. Anybody hear that? So whenever I can get a property with little money out of my pocket, I'm going to do it. It kills me. People, clients, I'm sure you guys do too. They'll buy a house up too, and then they'll say, "How do I refinance this?" They'll buy it creatively. I'm like, "What are you?" So anytime we get into a house with no cash and no credit, even if it's not the best deal, try to make it work. And I think a lot of us are paralyzed because we try to wait for the perfect deal as opposed to getting a deal and making it perfect. So it's like we're a lot of us are just looking for this one thing as opposed to trying and saying, you know what, let me kind of sculpt it over time, which I think a lot of the older guys like me, I don't know, I'm not calling anybody else old, but that's what we had to do because we bought so many bad deals. We had to kind of make them work over time, and it works out. Time in the market beats trying to time the market.
Yeah, I want to ask you the same question, Ellis. In those conversations,
Yeah.
you're asking questions. Where do you decide this is the best option?
One of the biggest errors I see with somebody, and you can tell they came right out of a creative financing boot camp, is everything is like creative financing, and they're only thinking about how can I buy the property rather than how can I solve the problem of the seller. Because I think that's why creative financing kind of gets a bad rap in the business because they think, oh, you don't have money. Yeah, I got money. I'm usually give dual offers. I'll say, hey, look, here's what I can pay if you want a cash offer, and here's what I can pay if you want an alternative offer. I don't call creative. Creative, I think just it hits people the wrong way. If they even have any interest toward the alternative offer, then we start having more discussion, right? Because the cash offer is the cash offer, and that's usually what everybody
We all
is
the
going to
same,
pay.
right? We
There's
all
not much variation in my estimation, but if I understand deeper what's happening, I could truly solve a problem that they didn't think I could solve. And immediately I'm going to get that. I always call it the know, like, and trust, right? If they know, like, and trust you, then you can take it to the next level, and then they will start revealing more and more about what's going on. I have a pet peeve when people come out of these creative financing seminars that everything they just blast out creative offers and they don't even know anything about the seller. And they ask me, hey, Ellis, how can I design this offer so I can get it? I go, well, have you talked to the seller? Do you know what their problem is? Do you know what's keeping them up at night? If the answer is no, then I'm just like, dude, come on. You got to start off at square one. This is a people business.
that's
You got
right.
to be able to get in there and put in the time to build a relationship.
Very true. That's good stuff right there. I know a lot of clients too. I'm sure we all get it. I'm like, why are they selling? Why are they? Can you, if you can't tell me why, I heard you laugh. Like, why are they selling? Well, I
It's
forgot.
my favorite question. And I feel like
Yeah.
because you have that story, like then
Right.
honestly, I then use that as content for my marketing to then share
Right.
more stories so that sellers can see themselves in those situations because the stories are what people are going to relate to. Because yes, people are the business, real estate's the byproduct.
You got to know why they're selling. I'm like, don't even talk. People call all the time. I got a hot deal, 3 bedroom, 2 bedroom. You're gonna love it. It's over here. It's got this, it's that. I'm like, all I need to know is why. Because if they're selling to get top dollar, there's nothing for us to talk about. If they're looking for all cash and it's top dollar and they need the money, it's like, why are we even talking about it? Why are they selling?
So you get a good lead. Let's throw a scenario out there. You get a good lead. You figure out why they're selling. They got quite a bit of equity in the property. They're unfamiliar with, the creative financing. I heard
They all
Ellis.
are. They use it. Well, Joe got lucky. Yeah, they
Yeah.
usually
And I was going to say that. So Joe's situation, he came to him. Joe, I feel like and I agree with what Joe said, when things come to you, it's a lot easier. You could shift it way easier. Now, this deal, you found it yourself. We'll create a scenario. You found this deal, a lot of equity. The person doesn't know about creative financing. What she's telling you is she'll close and she's looking for all the cash from the day of closing. That's all she knows. So what does that conversation look like if anyone wants to step up and go from there.
That one. So when somebody wants 200, say they owe 150 and they owe, say they owe 120 and they want 200, so they've got 80 in equity, right?
Mhm.
That's all they know. It's so cool because when you talk to a homeowner, you know what's on their mind. They're like, they want 200, and that's what I want. That's where it's our job, as Ellis says so eloquently, to find out what they want, what they're looking to do, because then we can craft an offer and get them some of the. We can pay them for some of the equity and still take over those payments. So we have to educate them to understand, like, you're going to get the same amount of money. In fact, you'll get more money. How about we'll get you more money if we do it this way? We're still selling it for 200. It's just us writing you a check for, let's, for the conversation's sake, we're writing you a check for 80 and we'll take over the 120. So just educating them, but you do have to know how to educate the buyers on the sellers on this thing, or it ain't gonna work.
So when you say educate the sellers, that seems kind of difficult, especially for newbies who are getting out. I don't know if this name shakes anyone out. Pace Morby's whole thing, and they're out there. The whole troops are out there trying to get things under contract. How do you have those conversations? And I know, Ellis, you said like they're gonna like and trust you to be able to take it to the next level. How do you get them to that particular point? How do you walk them down that line so they're hearing the creative financing offer that you're giving them? If
Well,
anyone
if
wants to
I,
go on.
yeah, I mean, if I ask enough questions and I know what all the salient, hot buttons are, then I can craft my offer and say, look, this is what the cash offer looks like. But with the cash offer, it doesn't hit these other concerns you have, right? With this alternative offer, I can address items, A through F, where I can show them why that's an advantage to take that. And then I said, let's have a discussion. Uh, if I get their curiosity, then I know that I'm kind of like walking them down the path of saying, hey, I'm kind of agnostic. If you want to do cash, I'll do cash. But if you really want to cover all your concerns, this might make sense to consider. I'm like, hey, you might want to consider this. Has anybody talked to you about this? And more often than not, they haven't. So I feel I have an edge if I get down that road where they're curious and say, well, you gave me two offers, Ellis. One was this and one was that. Tell me more about offer B, and then we start having discussions. And it's typically a much longer process because I always say that the worst conversation I have is, well, I want 300. This other guy says he's going to pay 305, and this other person says he's going to 310. And it's like I'm not in this for a bidding war. I'm in this to really solve your problem. I'm not your guy if this is just a bidding war. But if you have some very unique issues that I'm telling you, probably 89% of the wholesalers, investors out there don't really have the breadth of knowledge and education. I'll eat their lunch because I know how to address all those other things that might come up. If it's just a price thing, then hey, I'll let the other person win.
Oh, Kris,
He
for
who
your
cares less wins. He who cares, just let it go, let it go. And I think a lot of new people, we have to understand, most people are not going to do this, Gus. They ain't. Now, I can't speak for everybody else here, but for us, like, most of my leads are not going to let me take over their payment and keep the loan in their name. It just ain't going to happen. Right? But it's a few that will, and we have to go through the market to see who's going to do it.
Well, and I think the most important thing to what Kris is saying too is like where I think most investors have a trouble is I'm only looking for people who need to sell their house, not wanting to sell their house. So when you're having conversations, the whole beginning of this, how do I have that conversation? Well, first of all, have that conversation with somebody who needs to sell and not wants to. So there's a big difference right there, first off the bat. And what it happens is we're trying to convince people who want to sell their house, and we're trying to convince them that never works. It's like the worst thing ever. So work on finding people who need to sell, then you have the conversation. And how do I determine which route to pick? Simple. The property is going to tell me that. If the property is a junk house and it's a fixer upper, well, I'm looking at a cash offer. I'm going to either flip it or wholesale it. Okay. If it's a house that's turnkey and beautiful, then that's a terms offer. I'm never going to offer somebody cash on a turnkey home. And I tell them that, like, hey, I buy houses for cash, but those are the fixer uppers. I'm getting at a huge discount because they need a lot of work. And a turnkey house like yours, the only way I'm making that work is with terms and seller financing. So just before we got on today, I talked to a gentleman out of the blue. He's got a $575,000 home. during that conversation, I asked, why are you selling it? He wants to pay off some debt and he needs some cash. So he needs 200,000, but he's willing to do seller financing on the rest of it. And on that deal, I just said I'm not doing it with $200,000 down because most of these houses, guys, I typically buy with no money down. I mean, I've bought houses with 0% mortgages with $100 down. And I know it sounds crazy. I could show you the HUDs, like constant HUDs of me doing this. So on a free and clear home, it's all equity. So how do I convince somebody with a little bit of equity or all equity to do this? It's because they have a motivated situation and they need to sell a property. So that's the key to doing it. I think a lot of times we spend time with unmotivated leads and like this doesn't work.
100% agree with Joe. I think another one of my pet peeves is, and you know, there's a whole group out there that's trying to do subject to, and they just shotgun a bunch of offers out there, and they're frustrated. They're like, "Why am I not getting any traction?" And it's because of that, because they don't need to sell. They want to sell, and what happens is you actually, I think, you create kind of a negative atmosphere, and that's why there's so much, you know, there's so much a negative attitude toward the creative finance because
Frequency.
it's just poor training where you're just blasting out offers that are creative and they don't need to sell to you. So that's kind of why I fell into my niche of having title issues because they kind of have no other choice but to do creative financing because no bank is going to provide that financing for the acquisition. So when I found those two, it was a natural marriage to have something that is not financeable, and then I bring in my creative solution.
Yes.
So you got to have somebody that really needs your help because if they have a beautiful house and they don't have any, you know, time crunch, I think the best thing for them is to list it and get a cash offer. You know, I think, hey, if that was me, I would do it. And I would tell them that. I said, this is not a place where I would be a good match for you. But if there's something that is happening that they don't have time for the, you know, 45-day escrow and the 90 days on the, you know, 30 days on the market or whatever it takes and all the inspections, yeah, then brings one of us in and we can offer you an alternative. But otherwise, I think you're really missing the mark if you think you're going to go into this creative space and just shotgun offers. I think that's completely the wrong approach.
Well, I think people come in this thing. I hear it all the time, Ellis. You might too. I'm looking for subject to deals. Like they just look. That's all they're looking for, you know. And it's like,
Yeah.
how do I find this, you know?
Right.
And it's more of a just looking through the leads to see which one fits in that category. And you can't just. Well, I don't want to say can't. I have never been able to just go after specifically subject to deals. You know, they come, but it's not every. You know, I don't have a specific marketing that only brings those.
So when you
Yeah.
guys do find a deal, you guys aren't able to go ahead and take down. And I heard this kind of from Joe. Do you flip those or wholesale those to someone else potentially?
No, because your buyers, they don't, if they don't know what they're doing, you're just in a catastrophe for everybody. So I don't like wholesaling those deals. I mean, I have before, but you really have to know who the buyer is. So I tell everybody, don't do that unless you're selling to somebody like me, because I know how to operate these. I've been doing it a long time. But here's the
Hmm.
great thing about it is this works on single family homes. It works on multifamily, commercial. I mean, I had one of my guys do a car
Yeah,
wash with seller financing. So it works on many different types of real estate. It even works for your own house. Like if you want to buy a house, like you could move into it or keep it as a rental.
I
Um,
did.
so there's a lot of different opportunities. And I think once again, where everybody looks at leads, like I'm not getting good leads. Well, when you're a wholesaler and you're only looking for those junker houses, I was getting a lot of leads, nice houses, even if they were motivated. I just didn't realize. I was like, no, go list with an agent. I can't help you. And sometimes they already tried that and it didn't work. And that's when I realized I was actually missing my best leads. And those are all the nice turnkey houses because the houses I buy, a lot of them, I don't need contractors. I'm buying just closing costs and their rent ready. So those are the houses that I prefer. So like we did one in Rochester. It was a Airbnb. It's a 5,000 square foot house because there's a finished basement and attic. House is turnkey, gorgeous. He had 60,000 of equity compared to what we agreed to price and this. He was willing to wait 30 years for his equity. He didn't care. He wanted the payment off his back, which was a $1,700 payment and it had a 2.75 interest rate. Guys, I bought the house with $100 down. I paid 5,200 in closing costs. 269 Nunda Boulevard, Rochester, New York. Like look it up. I leased it with the option to buy, and we made 130,000 on that one deal in like 2 years.
Uh, for anyone here, have you guys like layered creative financing deals? Well, Ellis, you're saying, yeah. Do you want to dive into that?
Sure. One of the mentors, they taught me the idea of, once you enter into a creative finance agreement, that's setting the stage for what they call a second or third bite of the apple. So I'll give you an example. I bought a house, no money down, and I got it for 0% financing and no payments until I got it rented. So there's no negative cash flow, right? Because that's one of the things is, well, oh, you can do that. So part of the beauty of creative financing, it's whatever the buyer and seller can agree to. And I said, hey, your house is going to need a lot of fix up, and it may take me 6 months or more to get this thing, all sorted out. I gave myself plenty of room. It was during COVID, so it was hard to get a lot of materials and things like that. And so she agreed, and she was actually happy because I was able to give her a much higher offer than all the cash buyers. And with that 0% interest, I also had a clause in there called a substitution of collateral. And what that meant is I could take that $600,000 loan that she gave me and I could move that to another property if I wanted. So theoretically, if I wanted to, I could have flipped that house, sold it, got the cash, move that loan and not pay it off to another property at 0% interest and continue the payments. There's a lot of kind of advanced levels that you can use creative financing if you're inclined to learn about the power of some advanced techniques that you can use.
All right. Once again, I'm a newbie, so let me
Right.
just hear what you just said. So you
Right.
got the house there. You had the payment. You had the 0% payments on it.
$2,000 a month.
Yep. You took that debt. You moved it over to another property,
Right.
and you're saying that you had the option to go ahead and either refi or sell that particular property for the full value amount and keep that.
So actually, I just did this. So what I did is that $600,000 note that I had on that original property, I sold that property for $871,000. Now, what usually happens when you have a mortgage on a property, you pay it off, right? Well, I didn't pay it off. I just moved that financing to another property at 0%. So what happens to that $871,000 goes right in my pocket, right? Because I didn't have to pay off that $600,000 mortgage. I moved it to another property. Now, if I went and got hard money to buy that next property, that's what, 9-12%. Well, I have a 0% loan that I could use, and I actually improved her position because it's on a much nicer property, actually. So that's kind of advanced level stuff that if you go deep into this,
Okay.
I know. I'm sorry I spun your head around.
Yeah, no,
What
that's
he's
cool.
doing, Gus, if you can comprehend, he's taking the chess board and moving the chessboard under the players. Okay, so he's stacking the deck in his favor, just to make it plain for your viewers and listeners.
It also helps the seller because now they got another piece of collateral that's much better condition.
All right, let me ask you a question else. On that particular deal, how were you able to move the balance from that particular house over to another
Move the
house?
chessboard.
Because it's owner carryback. It's not bank financing.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, all right. That sounds like a phenomenal type deal. So, is that all you guys doing deals like this? Similar? Okay.
We all doing deals like this.
Chris, bring me a deal.
Understand collateralization. See, all we think of is go get a loan, what is it? Mortgage on my property, pay the loan till I'm dead. That's all we know. It's like, I don't know where this comes from. Why is it we only know one way to do this? We have collateralized all type of things, moved it around. And the good thing about it is when you're not dealing with banks like I used to all the time, you can move money all around the place. We don't even make payments. I don't even know the last time I had a payment on a loan. We got millions of dollars of debt. I make no payments on this stuff. So we just have to understand how debt works and how we can collateralize it against real estate.
Okay. Chris, could you give an example of a situation that you've had where you took down a deal? Maybe the last one you just done?
Yeah, we just closed one. I mean, the guy with the house, it's weird. I don't know if anybody else here has experienced this, but I don't know why homeowners call me the day before the foreclosure. The day before. So we have to go in and deal with that. But so we we have ways to deal with foreclosures, and then we'll just bring the loan current and we'll give the homeowner some money and they're gone on down the street, man. This guy was 20,000 behind. We had to pay that. We gave him 1,000 at closing, so it was a $1,000 deal really to the seller. We paid all closing costs. The payment was 880. We sold it the next day for twice what it's worth. I mean, twice what we're in it for. We're in it for 130. We sold it for 220. Payment 1,600. The mortgage, our payment we're getting is 1,600. The payment to his loan is 890. So we're making $700, and we'll have all our money back in 3 years. I want y'all to think this is like, oh no, that we buy on social issues, not on market conditions. We don't even think the market's going up, down, left, right, forwards, backwards, and sideways. People are still losing their jobs, getting job transfers, dying, getting sick, going to jail. All this stuff happens every day. So we look for social issues, not market conditions. I ain't waiting for the market to be perfect for me to buy. You know, it's not on my radar.
So has there been situations where deals have come to you and you've decided, even though it's a great situation, you don't want it? Have
I
you
mean,
turned down deals?
creative stuff where we get to
Yes, correct. Where you've heard the information, you're like, yeah, I can easily take this down, but I decided not to. Because I think I would be dangerous if I actually learned this skill, because, I would try to take down everything in the world. So but for you guys, have you turned down deals and why?
I mean, I turn down bad deals, but I keep all the good ones.
Okay, so
I, I
I
mean,
don't know. That's almost like asking us, do you like to make money or do you like
Yeah,
well,
it's all about risk management. It's all about risk management. So you're going to turn down
too
the deals
risky?
that they don't have the payoff for the given amount of risk. So, I mean, I don't know if you can see this. No, it's on my phone, but I can show you that that collateral substitution of collateral deal I did. But
Substitution of collateral. I
yeah,
like
it won't.
my
I don't
favorite
know if
word.
it'll show. Oh, no, it's not
that
showing. It's
doesn't
on my
come through.
phone.
Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. So, Joe and Jen, you guys took down that first deal. So it's another deal you're adding to your portfolio. And this is a question for everyone. Do you have property management teams? Are your properties that you have spread out throughout the United States? Are you in one particular market? So what does that look like for all you guys?
so we own properties in many different states. We do not have property management. We also offer our properties with a lease with the option to buy. So our renters are responsible for all the maintenance and repairs, and they're giving us big non-refundable deposits when they move in. So I have a deal they just moved into in Niagara Falls, New York. I bought the house with 2 grand down, took over the guy's existing payment. The guy who just moved in gave me 25,800 to move in, which was his non-refundable deposit was 23,000, and he's giving me 2,800 a month for rent. So on those deals there, I don't have property management. These are beautiful houses and beautiful neighborhoods, but no different
What are they going to
though.
manage? What are they
They are
going to
responsible for all their maintenance and repairs. So if the door handle gets loose, like don't call me, like fix it. And they know that getting into it. So it's not like it's a surprise for them. So up north, I've got snow removal. They do that. Down south, they've got ACs and grass all year round. Like they take care of all of that. So it really, I mean, I buy properties, even the one that's an hour south of me, like I'm not going to go to it. I haven't seen it yet. I'm buying it sight unseen. I don't care. I've seen pictures. I know what it looks like. Sent contractors good enough for me. So I never go see a property ever. I buy them all sight unseen just through videos and pictures and getting a contractor or inspector to do a walkthrough for me.
Chris, Ellis, what about you guys?
I have an in-house management team that we do stuff that's close. We manage in-house of the stuff that's close to us. Anything that's further away, but all my stuff is in California. Then we outsource to local management for most of the stuff, but we still kind of have to manage the manager. But I did out of state for many years, and I just brought it all back home. I needed to simplify everything. So
We got to manage the manager. If you're listening to this and you think that you're getting passive income in real estate, it ain't happening. Things happen. People think I'm gonna get into real estate. We don't have a property manager. I don't even know what they would manage. We just collect checks. So I don't. I mean, we're like a mortgage company. I'd make sure that the amount is there. If they don't, we got a little software. They pay. They don't pay. They leave. If they mess it up, new owner that's gonna buy it buys it messed up. I mean, we sell them. We don't do anything to them. I mean, we'd clean them out and let people. We're right in the Virginia Beach area, so this housing here is extremely limited.
I mean, even though this is, pretty it wasn't a long segment. It was pretty short and precise. I'm glad I got the video so I can rewatch it because I'm trying to write down the numbers and everything. Ellis kind of messed me up here. You guys
I'm
messed me up
so
down
You're gonna
sorry.
get it
there.
all.
I'm
You're
so
gonna get it all.
sorry.
It took me 3 years.
We
Okay,
got
so
we got plenty of time to go over it
okay.
offline if you want, Chris.
Yeah, I definitely want to at some point have if you guys can jump back on so I'm a little more, I got that knowledge from this particular pocket because there's a lot of great things and I know everyone's gonna watch this and they're gonna ask me questions. So what I want to
Right.
go ahead and do is I want to wrap this up, but if you guys can give your handles, how people can reach out to you, if you got communities, please share those. And then we'll go from there. Ellis, if you want to go ahead and start off.
Yeah, my Instagram, I started a new one just for investments. It's at Deedclear, DeedClear. That's where I am on Instagram.
Creativefinanceplaybook.com. That's access to our YouTube where we talk about this stuff all the time. We have a Facebook group. I'm on Facebook, Joseph Delle Fave.
And I love Instagram, Jenn Delle Fave, JennDellefave.
I'm just Kris Haskins on all handles. We're biggest on YouTube, but we do some IG stuff too. Love to meet you.
All right. All right, guys. I mean, if you're a newbie and you heard these experts speaking and you're still trying to figure it out, they give you the ways to go ahead and contact them. I watch Chris's content all the time. I watch Jenn and Joe's. I've been seeing a lot of clips that you guys put out. Ellis, me and you talk quite a bit. Reach out to them. This is what it's about. It's about people that you're vetting, people that you've been watching for quite some times, going to them for the information. Stop going to these people that might have did two deals in their life and now they're a coach and you're paying tens of twenty of thousands of dollars. So that's why I created this platform, getting people who are really doing it. You saw Joe, he put the phone right up to the camera and he showed the digital proof. And that's what we like to see. Other than that, I appreciate you guys jumping on today. Another episode down in the books. Thank you.
Thank you, Gus.
There you
Nice
go.
meeting you all.
Us.